Boatworks today is sponsored by Total Boat and Alexial Yacht Coatings, as well as supported by the generosity from the beautiful folks over on Patreon. Thank you so much. So, welcome back, everybody. Hope you're all having a fantastic weekend. My name is Andy with Boatworks today, and this week, actually for the last 2 weeks, we've been basically busting our humps here, trying to get ready for the big day, which is going to be on Friday, October 1st, that's the day that all of our insulation is coming in. And really, my part of all this was that I had to get the ceiling sheathed. I need to get all of the OSB on the underside of the ceiling so that obviously when they're spraying their insulation, they actually have something to hold it into place. Now, the sidewalls on my building are 16 feet tall, so there isn't a shot in hell that I'm going to be doing any of this work off of a ladder. So we rented a scissor lift. Now, funny story, the shop is up on a bit of a hill, and this thing is not designed for moving around on really anything other than just flat cement. So getting it up here was a little bit of a process. Needless to say, it got stuck quite a few times, almost drained the battery, so I ended up having to hook it up to the tractor and basically haul it up to the hill and finally get it into the building here. Now, I'm going to buzz right through this because honestly, it's not going to be very interesting to watch. But basically, the very first thing that I had to do is, because of the type of insulation that we went with, I had to install these soffit vents or baffles, I guess, along the sides of the building here, just so that air can still flow through there and vent the attic once the underside of the ceiling is sheathed. Now, my insulation guy, he was pretty adamant about me using these cardboard baffles, and I gotta say, I had a hell of a time trying to track these things down, but I did finally get them. So all the baffles were pretty straightforward and easy to install, with the exception of one area, and that was right over the stairwell going up to the upper loft or the mezzanine. Now, we did end up figuring it out, but let's just say it took a little bit of, how do I put this? A little backwoods engineering? Yeah, something like that. We figured it out, and I can guarantee you this was 100% OSHA approved. Yeah, something like that. So hanging these sheets is actually the thing that I've been dreading the most about this entire project. I mean, even looking at stuff that's going to be coming up here down the road. A couple things you may not know about me. One, I have a very hard time working overhead for reasons. But the other thing is, I hate heights. I don't like heights. Just far too many years dangling from a cable from a sketchy crane, doing work up on top of masts. There's too many close calls. I don't like heights. So luckily, my brother was able to come in and give me a hand with this. Otherwise, I think I probably would have been pretty much hosed. So thank you, brother. But I will say, though, after a few sheets, we got a pretty good process down here. Basically, when we were still on the ground, we'd get all of our screws pre-started. Everything's on 24 centers, and have it mounted to the side of the lift. Take us up to the ceiling, put it overhead, and I'd say, probably within 2 minutes of screwing, we got the whole thing down. Now, by the time we got to the end here, you always, figure out the little tricks by the time you're just about finished. But by the end there, we were able to do a sheet between the two of us about every 10 minutes, start to finish, which I thought was pretty good. So end of day one, we ended up getting 11 sheets total, done in that day. But in all fairness, we didn't get started till late. I don't think we actually started driving nails till about 3 in the afternoon. Reasons. But anyways, I'd say right now it's probably about 7 o'clock. So, in 5 hours, 11 sheets. Not that, we're certainly not breaking any speed records, but I didn't think it was all that bad. So by the morning of day 4, we ended up getting all the sheets hung that we needed the scissor lift for. So time to break down my OSHA-approved platform. And then, then we get to switch to something that's a little bit more my speed, or at least something that I'm able to manage by myself. And by the morning of day 5, we are all set. All the sheathing is up. I'm not going to say it's perfect because it's not, but I will say it's not bad. I think it's probably certainly good enough for who it's for. And at this point, all that's left is a few little punch list items. I've got to get everything out of the wall cavities and everything up on the mezzanine, kind of get that pushed over towards the railing, just to basically open up working space for the insulating guys. And there's still a bunch of crap on the floor. I've still got sheets of OSB piled up, and I'm not sure where that's going to be able to go, but yeah, we'll figure it out. So now, as I mentioned, the big push for getting the ceiling in place was because the insulation guys are showing up here October 1, and actually by the time you're seeing this on YouTube on Sunday, this building will already be finished. So the attic or the sheathing on the ceiling needed to be in place so they can get that taken care of, and the walls need to stay open, at least for the time being. Now, speaking on the insulation, what we decided to go with was going to be basically 2 different products for each location. Up in the attic, we're going to be doing open cell foam, so 10 inches of open cell foam. And then in the walls, we're using, it's a product that's made by Applegate. I had never heard of it. Evidently, it's a pretty well-known thing. I'm not in the business, so I wasn't familiar with it. But it's made by Applegate, and it's like a damp spray cellulose. And the overall cost for having all that work done came in right around, we'll just kind of round it off, right around $11,000. Now, just for the hell of it, I did actually get, just so I can compare some numbers here, I did talk to someone that does closed cell foam, and that's really all they do. So he came in and looked over the building here. And long and short of it is that the estimate to have closed cell foam sprayed in here, both in the walls and up in the attic, that came in at $18,600, so almost an extra $8,000 more. And at the end of the day, I couldn't justify it. I wasn't going to be getting any better R value. The walls were still going to be 21, and the attic was still going to be comparable to having the open cell foam. So it did make sense for me to spend that extra $8,000 just to say that I've got closed cell foam in the building. There are applications where closed cell foam is really, really advantageous, but this isn't one of them. I'm not running a grow room in here. So now for me, in this situation, it just didn't make sense to spend that extra $8,000. I could use that towards something else that I'm going to need anyways. Specifically like an air quality system, or not really an air makeup system, but like an air quality, like an air scrubbers. Because that's not something that I currently have plans, or that I had plans to be able to get in place, at least for this year. But the way the numbers are kind of coming together and the way that the budget is looking, I think that's something I'm going to be able to swing. Health, air quality is something that's always been very important to me. So if I can get a couple of really, really good units, that would be fantastic. So now getting back to the insulation, now after the walls are filled with that damp cellulose, they need to dry for 3, 4, maybe even 5 days before you can go over top of it with the sheathing and kind of box everything in. Now, that's going to be something that I'm not quite sure how I'm going to manage that, because that following week then, the HVA, that following week's going to be really busy. I got the heating guys coming in, they're going to get the boiler installed, and in order for them to actually run the registers and their tubing, at least the bottom 4, maybe 8 feet of the walls all the way around need to be sheathed. And then also the cement guys are going to be here that same week doing all the excavating and grading and then getting their forms in place, insulation down, and then the heating guys are going to have to run the coils through there. So It's gonna be a busy week, but at least none of that's on me. I mean, just hanging sheets on the walls, that's gonna be a whole hell of a lot easier for me than it was getting these panels up overhead, up on the ceiling. So that part I'm not getting too stressed out about. Now when we start getting higher up, to that 16-foot height on the walls, yeah, I might be singing a different tune. And with that said, I need to start cleaning because the insulation guys are showing up tomorrow, and I was told that really nothing should be in this building, and there's a lot of crap in here still. I don't know where I'm gonna go with it, but we'll figure it out. So I gotta get started on that because my understanding is that the insulation guys are showing up about 7:30 tomorrow morning, so if it's not done tonight, it's not gonna be done or ready before they show up here tomorrow morning. So I need to get back on track here. So I think this is gonna be a good place to end this video. So now, as always, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found this interesting at least. And if you did, hit that thumbs up button. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Thank you in advance. I really, really appreciate that. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions on air scrubbers or ways that I can kind of clean the air in this building, specifically in the wintertime when windows and doors are not gonna be open, leave those down below. More information I can get, the better. And also, thank you in advance for that. So as always, I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week.
This has been a Boatworks Today production.